What's up, YouTube? I am going to be showing you guys how to replace an EGR valve and symptoms of a bad EGR valve or a failing EGR valve. So one of the main symptoms is rough idling, revving high, and just hearing weird things in your engine bay, which will not allow you to pass your emissions test. So if you have a bad EGR valve, you need to replace it as soon as possible. So in order to get more room, we're going to take off 1, 2, 3, and I think there's more, but there's one down there too. 4, but that's not there. So just pretty much 4 10mm bolts, and then 1 bolt there and 1 bolt there for the EGR. So first, we're gonna disconnect the harness. Like that. Then we're gonna get this air cleaner out of the way for removing all the bolts so we have more room in the engine bay. And I almost forgot, there's one more bolt down there. So there's in total five bolts to take off the air box. So now we're gonna disconnect the throttle cable from there and here, so we have more room. And we're just gonna wiggle it so it comes off of the air filter box. And bring it up from here. Pull it out from the battery harness. Just like that. Oh, there's battery cable. Get it over, and you can just pull it right out. You can set this aside. Okay, so the bolts on the EGR valve, I would recommend you use a swivel socket. It's a 12mm bolt, and they're really on there tight. You got to be careful because these are not bolts; they're actually nuts, and they thread onto a thread that threads into the metal. So you get that side. So when you get the 12mm bolts out, you can just pull your EGR valve out, and that's the EGR valve. Some vehicles have an electric EGR valve, and some have a vacuum EGR valve. The Silverado we have is a vacuum EGR valve, and that's the gasket right there. So we're gonna pull that off and replace it with a brand new EGR valve we got. So this is the gasket, and this is the new EGR valve that we're gonna replace. Alright, once you get the gasket and the EGR valve off, I'd recommend you spray it with some carb cleaner. Even doesn't matter if you get it in the hose. Try your best to get it in the hose so you can clean all that gunk and carbon out. Before you put your gasket and the EGR valve on, you gotta make sure the threads are screwed in all the way. So yeah, this one wasn't screwed in all the way, because when we unloose the nut, it doesn't have to be really tight, just hand tight. And that one's already screwed in all the way. So now you can put your new gasket. You can put your new gasket and EGR valve on. So let's set the gasket down. Right there. And then you can set your EGR valve on. Like that. And then I'm gonna put the 12mm bolts on there, hand tighten, and that should be it. all you have to do is hand tighten. You don't have to torque it down very hard. Just make sure it's nice and snug. There we go. That should be good. So then you can connect the harness back right there. And then we're going to put the air cleaner back on. And then we can start it up, see if the check engine light's still on, and use the fixed app, see if there's any more problems.